We got Carl Weathers directing. For this episode, Papa North sees no correcting.
North!
Welcome back, Nerd North. We are talking The Mandalorian, Chapter 20, The Foundling. With this episode being directed by none other than Carl Weathers, Papa North gotta tell you, this is one of the best episodes he's seen in this series so far. So let's roll the tape and get to it. Start off this episode on the shores of the Convert, where it looks like they are doing a boot camp training day militia thing for all the foundlings to prepare them to become mighty Mandalorians. It was great to see all the houses and clans working together in their training day to get a better look into the life of the Mandalorian and what it just takes to become such a great warrior. We got little Grogu right on the shore playing with some shells when Papa Mando comes to scoop him up and tell him it's your turn to get into the ring. And although a little apprehensive, Papa Mando lets him know that, hey, it's okay, I've seen what you can do before, you can do this. Nothing like a little Papa encouragement to help you on your way. Who does Din Djarin put him up against for his first match? With the foundling from the previous episode that was getting christened by the other Mandalores before Crocnado came in and ruined their day. You get a quick explanation about how Grogu doesn't get a helmet because he is too young to speak the language and understand the creed. Before we get to some training dart action, there's a great little scene between these two little warriors. With lightning speed, the foundling takes the first 2 rounds from Grogu before Papa Mando gives little Grogu a little pep speech about "you got this, kid." That's when we enter round 3. Little Grogu does a flip to the left, flip to the right, back in front of the foundling. One, two, three, lands all 3 practice darts dead center of the chest of the foundling. Just as we're all about to celebrate a heartwarming victory by Grogu, giant raptor dino swoops out of the sky and scoops up the foundling. Just as Din Djarin tries to blast it out of the sky, as Vizsla stops him and says, "You're gonna kill the foundling when you start shooting blasters at him." Pew pew denied! Papa North still loves his pew pews. So Vizsla, Din Djarin, and the others are now in hot pursuit of this raptor with their jetpacks. And let Papa North tell you, this was just a beautiful scene to watch all together. Probably some of the best jetpack VFX I have seen in Star Wars to date. It was a real treat to see this scene. It looked smooth and clean. It looked awesome. And probably was one of the best jetpack scenes I have seen in Star Wars to date. Kept the audience on edge for the duration of this chase. But jet fuel is a commodity and they run out of it quickly, and when all hope seems to be lost, Bo-Katan comes flying in with her ship, tracking the raptor down to its lair. It was a real treat to see this scene. So she then meets back up with the rest of the Mandos with a plan to go and retrieve the foundling from the raptor's lair. Knowing the foundlings are the future, all Mandos agree and begin to plan out their pursuit of this creature. This is the way. And again, some beautiful VFX shots in this scene. With some gorgeous sunsets, some trails coming off the ship. Well done. Some of the best ship VFX I've seen in the series so far. So the war party tracks this creature to within miles of its lair when they decide to take the rest of the journey by foot so not to scare the raptor away, where the Mandos decide to make camp for the night and scale the rock face to face this raptor off in the morning. As they're eating a hearty little meal, Bo-Katan looks at Din Djarin and says, "How am I supposed to eat this without taking my mask off?" And Din Djarin replies that you don't. You leave the camp scene and find a place in solitude where you can eat by yourself and take off your helmet. But before she can leave, Jon Favreau stops her and says, "You're the leader of this war party, so you get the honor of eating by the fire." This is the way. And while the scene is taking place, back down at the convent, the armorer looks at Grogu and says, "Come on, little Grogu, we have work to be done." As the armorer begins to forge a new piece of armor for little Grogu, as she sees the sparks flying off of her hammer, begins to have flashbacks of Order 66. And Papa North gotta admit, when this first started, he thought to himself, Are they gonna blow the scene? But with Director Weathers at the helm, they pulled it off magically. It was a great little Order 66 scene. As we see Republic troopers breaking through the blast shields that the Jedi Order is protecting. And as they penetrate the defenses and begin their assault on the Jedi Order, we see one of the Jedis usher Grogu into the elevator for safety before she is blasted and killed and lands in the elevator herself. And some suspense is driven as we're all waiting to see who's on the other side of that elevator when it opens back up. And who does it turn out to be? Jar Jar freaking Binks! How rude! Not the actual Jar Jar, just the guy who plays him. Or as Papa North likes to call him, Star Wars Sean Puffy Combs. Which is good to see him get his day after all the ridicule he took from the Phantom Menace. And although Papa North wasn't a fan of that film, I am a big believer in retribution. So Star Wars P. Diddy takes out a couple of Republican troopers on a platform before him and Grogu take off on a speeder bike that was left over by one of those troopers. Then get a hot pursuit through Coruscant City. The city looked gorgeous, the shots looked beautiful, and the scene actually felt like it did have high stakes to it, which is something the rest of the episodes have been missing at this point. And by the time this flashback is done, the armorers complete the new piece of armor for Grogu with the emblem of the Mudhorn, where she then opens his vest, shoves it on top of the chainmail. Which is really good because we would like to see where that chainmail went, and everybody was wondering why isn't he wearing it anymore. Where he now is one step closer to becoming a real Mandalorian. So back to the Foundling Rescue, where it's now morning and the rest of the Mandos are deciding to scale this rock face to see if they can bring the Foundling back. And as they reach the top of the rock face and see this giant-sized net, we see Poe Vizsla climb in when the rest of the Mandos tell him he's got to be careful and quiet. He pipes up and says, "That's my son." Good to know Favreau's still clapping cheeks. Just as he's ready to retrieve his boy, baby raptor dinos wake up and cause a ruckus. Which you know brings on Mama Raptor. Where she then spits out the Foundling and scoops up Favreau in her mouth. And then claws onto his son and takes off into the air. But the Mandos fire up their jetpacks and they're in hot pursuit. And again, VFX shots gorgeous. They look fantastic, amazing, it doesn't look cheap, it makes you feel like you're actually there flying with the Mandos. And after some great maneuvering, Din Djarin gets ahead of this raptor, knifes it in the foot. Raptor Dino drops the Foundling, and as he's sent hurtling towards the water down below, we're all on edge thinking, is Mando gonna save this kid in time? Of course he does, he's the Mandalorian. He fires that jetpack up and scoops the kid out of midair just in the nick of time. And as a cable-entangled Raptor Dino crashes towards the water, before it can take flight again, it's eaten by Croconado! This is the way! So the war party returns to the shores of the convent. And after the armorer tells Bo-Katan rescuing a Foundling is the highest honor a Mandalorian can have, Bo-Katan pipes up and says, "Well, I got 3 more Foundlings for you." And who do they turn out to be? The hatchlings from the Raptor Dino that they just killed. Which is a nice little touch showing that these Mandos won't leave any Foundling behind or someone who's lost a parent and is now alone. And will take them in as one of their own. Or cook them and eat them later, but the gesture was still nice. The armorer then notices Bo-Katan missing a piece of her armor and offers her to replace it with one she can forge inside the cave to replace the one she lost. Before the armorer can forge a Night Owl emblem into the shoulder piece, Bo-Katan sees the Mythosaur skull on the convert wall and asks, "Is it okay if I have one shoulder with the Night Owl's emblem and the other shoulder with the Mythosaur?" After the armorer explains it is always okay for any Mandalorian to display the emblem of the Mythosaur, Bo-Katan said, "What if I told you I saw it?" Where the armorer then tells her, for a Mandalorian to have that in a vision is very special. But again, Bo-Katan pipes up and says, "What if I told you I meant for real that I saw one?" The armorer just looks at her and says, "This is the way." And not only is this the way, this is also where we finish up this week's episode. Papa North loved this one. I thought Carl Weathers did an amazing job of directing this episode. Like his previous episode in Season 2, I think he might be one of the best directors that the Mando crew has on their team. And a personal shout out to Mr. Weathers for replying to Team North's Twitter post, "This is the way, be peace." Thank you from the bottom of our heart, as that totally made our day. But what did you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Tell Papa North in the comments below, and don't forget, the more comments you leave gives us more of a chance to make some great nerdy content for subscribers like you. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe! And to my best friend Patty Richardson, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for making sure all these videos reach as many people as they possibly can. And to my brother the Resonator for supplying another great track for Nerd North. Make sure you check him out on SoundCloud.com. You won't be disappointed. It's all Papa North has in his music library. And to the Nerd North subscribers, we could never do this show without you. And until next time, Nerd North.